a land of contrasts that captivates the spirit, where biblical history comes to life in its streets, from the valley of the Nile to the deserts of Jordan and the peaks of Lebanon. Crossroads of three continents, Israel extends from its Mediterranean coasts to the deserts of the Negev, a mix of nature, ingenuity, and spirituality. Place of beautiful landscapes full of colors, seas and ports, churches and monasteries, fortresses and remains. Israel is a treasure of epic landscapes, of diversity of peoples and people. Full of cities and towns that changed the course of history, let us explore together and discover some of the most interesting and extraordinary facts about Israel. Jerusalem, called the City of Peace, the City of God, is considered the holiest city on earth, as it is held sacred by the three largest monotheistic religions in the world: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Speaking of Jerusalem means speaking of more than 5,000 years of history and over 2,500 sites of archaeological and historical interest. Jerusalem receives about 3.5 million tourists each year who visit its most iconic places. The Old City stands out with its ancient quarters: the Jewish Quarter, the Christian Quarter, the Muslim Quarter, and the Armenian Quarter, each with its own charm and heritage sites. In the Jewish Quarter, the Western Wall stands out, the only remaining part of the ancient Second Temple of Jerusalem and one of the most sacred places for Judaism and Christianity. This wall is part of a large esplanade known as the Temple Mount, the holiest site in Judaism and where the Great Temple of Jerusalem once stood. It was destroyed in the year 70 AD and currently houses a complex of mosques considered among the holiest in Islam. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, dating from the 8th century, and the Mosque of Omar or the Dome of the Rock, the oldest Islamic building in Jerusalem, built in 691 AD by the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik, stand on the site from which, according to Muslim tradition, the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. In the Christian Quarter, we find places like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, considered one of the holiest sites in Christianity, as it is located on the place where, according to Christian tradition, Jesus was crucified and resurrected. Finally, the Armenian Quarter is the heart of Armenian culture in the city, which formed due to the pilgrimage of the first nation in history to adopt Christianity as its official religion. There, places like the Armenian Museum stand out, exhibiting valuable medieval manuscripts and ancient objects. The Jordan River, Israel and Jordan. The Jordan Valley is of seismic origin and marks the border between the country and Jordan. It is not the only river in Israel, but it is the most famous and the longest. It originates near Mount Hermon, flows into the Sea of Galilee, and from there continues its course southward until it finally empties into the Dead Sea. The Jordan River Valley is a demilitarized region in both countries, according to the peace treaty signed by both nations in 1994. It is also a very fertile area, on the Israeli side in places like Beit Shean, and on the Jordanian side in the Gour Plain, where the Mediterranean climate allows for the successful cultivation of vegetables, grains, and fruits. On the Jordanian side of the Jordan River lies a town called Bethany, located at a narrow point of the river, only about 20 meters wide, and traditionally identified as the place where Jesus of Nazareth was baptized by John the Baptist. The Jordan is visited by hundreds of thousands of Christians every year who come to immerse themselves in the waters where Jesus was baptized. The Dead Sea, a unique natural wonder shared between Jordan and Israel. The astonishing Dead Sea, or Al-Bahr al-Mayit in Arabic, offers a truly unforgettable experience. Its shores, at 430 meters below sea level, mark the lowest point on Earth. It is called the Dead Sea because of the extreme salinity of its waters, which makes virtually all marine life impossible. But the Dead Sea has also been known since biblical times as the Salt Sea, because its water is 9 to 10 times saltier than that of the oceans. The high concentration of minerals in the water allows you to float effortlessly when you bathe in it. Its thick, mineral-rich waters are also believed to have healing properties, a belief dating back to antiquity. This is why you'll find luxury resorts along its shores offering modern amenities and spa treatments for the skin and body. Interestingly, many archaeologists and experts believe that beneath its waters lie the remains of the biblical cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Surrounding the sea are many places of great historical and spiritual importance. One of them is the majestic Mount Nebo, located on the Jordanian side. According to biblical tradition, it was from Mount Nebo that Moses viewed the Promised Land before his death. From its summit, visitors can enjoy breathtaking panoramic views of the Dead Sea, the Jordan River Valley, and the Judean Mountains, an unforgettable spectacle. Also near the southern end of the Dead Sea, in the Judean desert, lies Masada, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and historic fortress. Masada is famous for its heroic last stand during the Jewish rebellion against Rome in the 1st century AD. Perched on top of a nearly vertical plateau in the heart of the desert, it was considered virtually impregnable. Visitors can hike or take a cable car to the summit to explore the impressive ruins of its palaces and defensive walls, and take in spectacular views of the Dead Sea and surrounding landscape. Nearby is the Bar Kokhba Fortress, another historic site associated with the Jewish revolt against the Romans in the 2nd century AD. Though less well known than Masada, Bar Kokhba offers an equally fascinating and moving experience. The Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee, or Lake Kinneret, is one of the most famous lakes in the world. It is located in northern Israel, and with a depth slightly over 200 meters below sea level. It holds the title of the deepest freshwater lake in the world. The Sea of Galilee is also known as Lake Tiberias. This is in honor of the city of Tiberias, located on the southwestern shore of the lake, one of the lowest cities on earth and the 4th holiest city in Judaism, as it is the burial place of several of its most illustrious sages. One of the most famous names of this site is the Lake of Miracles. It is called so because it is where Jesus of Nazareth performed many of his miracles, such as walking on water, which is why it is one of the most visited places by pilgrims. The surroundings of the lake are dotted with iconic biblical sites, such as the Mount of Beatitudes, the place where Jesus delivered one of his most famous teachings, or Capernaum, where Jesus used to attend synagogue and where his disciples like Peter lived, as well as Magdala, home to some of his followers such as Mary Magdalene, rediscovered in 2009, where you can walk the same streets Jesus of Nazareth once walked. Also on the northwestern shore of the lake is the city of Tabgha, identified as the place where Jesus multiplied the loaves and fishes, and one of the places where he appeared to his disciples after rising from the dead. Mount Arbel, a national park in Israel, offers one of the most beautiful views of the Sea of Galilee, as well as those from its nearby cliffs or hippos, a true archaeological jewel in Israel where you can walk along the New Trajan Way, the road that connected the cities of the Roman Decapolis. The deserts of Israel. Israel is home to impressive deserts that hold an ancient history and unique landscapes that hide nature reserves contrasting with its cities and ancient archaeological sites in the middle of the desert, such as the Qumran Caves, located near the Dead Sea in the Judean desert, famous for the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the 1940s. Among its deserts, we can mention the Negev, which is almost the only part of Israel that seems vast and limitless, as it contains 60% of Israel's surface area but less than 10% of its population. Its rocky hills and dry ravines have attracted travelers, traders, and nomads since ancient times, such as in Shifta, an ancient Nabatean and Roman settlement that gives us a fascinating insight into life in the desert in antiquity. In the Negev, we also find the Mitzpe Ramon crater, the largest erosion crater in the world, as well as the city of Beersheba, the capital of the Negev, a cultural and historical center known for the modern Ben Gurion University. Also, the Judean desert, located between the Judean mountains and the Dead Sea, is a small desert with less than 1,000 square kilometers, famous for housing Ein Gedi, an oasis of lush vegetation and refreshing waterfalls that contrast with the surrounding arid landscape, and a refuge place for David while fleeing from King Saul. There we also find many of the mythical biblical settings, such as the Desert of the Temptations, also the desert where John the Baptist lived, which is why many monasteries were developed in the Middle Ages commemorating these stories, among them the Mar Saba Monastery, a Greek Orthodox monastery built high on a rocky cliff, as well as the Monastery of St. George and the Der Eigel Monastery. Nearby is the city of Jericho, one of the oldest cities in the world, known for its rich biblical history and archaeological sites such as the ancient city walls. Finally, near the border with Jordan we find the Araba Desert, which extends from the south of the Dead Sea toward the city of Eilat, called the Garden of Israel because there 60% of the fruits and vegetables that the country exports are produced, despite its 50 degrees Celsius temperature and 25 milliliters of water per year, which is why many have called this desert the fulfillment of the words of the prophet Isaiah that the desert would bloom like the rose. The Judean Mountains. Surrounding the holy city of Jerusalem, these mountains offer a unique experience for lovers of faith and culture. For millennia, pilgrims and devotees have traveled to Jerusalem to visit its sacred sites. Hence the phrase, "Let us go up to Jerusalem," which reflects both the physical and spiritual act of ascending to the holy city. A journey full of meaning and devotion. These mountains are dotted with ancient cities that have a rich and fascinating history, such as Hebron, one of the oldest cities in the world, known for being the site of the tombs of the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and where King David's kingdom began, as well as Bethlehem. Located south of Jerusalem, Bethlehem is known as the birthplace of Jesus and houses the Basilica of the Nativity, built over the cave believed to be where Jesus was born. It is one of the most sacred places in Christianity. Besides the city of Bethlehem, 5 kilometers to the southeast, lies Herodium, a palace fortress built on top of an artificial hill by King Herod the Great between 23 and 20 BC to commemorate a military victory over the Hasmoneans of Jerusalem. The complex includes a royal palace, a fortress, a theater, a mausoleum, and a garden. Today, the Judean Mountains are a mix of urbanized areas with modern residential communities and developed infrastructure, along with nature reserves full of numerous hiking trails that reflect the diversity and complexity of life in Israel. For example, Bethlehem and Hebron are located in the West Bank under Palestinian Authority control, which is why they are separated by a wall from the rest of Israel. The Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee, or Lake Kinneret, is one of the most famous lakes in the world. It is located in northern Israel, and with a depth slightly over 200 meters below sea level. It holds the title of the deepest freshwater lake in the world. The Sea of Galilee is also known as Lake Tiberias. This is in honor of the city of Tiberias, located on the southwestern shore of the lake, one of the lowest cities on earth and the 4th holiest city in Judaism, as it is the burial place of several of its most illustrious sages. One of the most famous names of this site is the Lake of Miracles. It is called so because it is where Jesus of Nazareth performed many of his miracles, such as walking on water, which is why it is one of the most visited places by pilgrims. The surroundings of the lake are dotted with iconic biblical sites, such as the Mount of Beatitudes, the place where Jesus delivered one of his most famous teachings, or Capernaum, where Jesus used to attend synagogue and where his disciples like Peter lived, as well as Magdala, home to some of his followers such as Mary Magdalene, rediscovered in 2009, where you can walk the same streets Jesus of Nazareth once walked. Also on the northwestern shore of the lake is the city of Tabgha, identified as the place where Jesus multiplied the loaves and fishes, and one of the places where he appeared to his disciples after rising from the dead. Mount Arbel, a national park in Israel, offers one of the most beautiful views of the Sea of Galilee, as well as those from its nearby cliffs or hippos, a true archaeological jewel in Israel where you can walk along the New Trajan Way, the road that connected the cities of the Roman Decapolis. The Jezreel Valley, also known as Hemek Yisrael or the Valley of Esdraelon, it is a beautiful area in northern Israel, located at the southern end of Lower Galilee. Its name means God sows, perhaps alluding to the fertile land of the valley, which features a surprisingly flat landscape of immense natural beauty and historical importance. The valley's strategic location meant that throughout history armies and travelers passed through it, coming from Istanbul or Babylon towards Egypt or the Arabian Peninsula, making the valley rich in archaeological findings. One of its most notable archaeological sites is Tel Megiddo, a strategic city in ancient times, and the setting of numerous biblical battles throughout history, such as Deborah's victory over Sisera, the Israelites' victory under Gideon over the Midianites and Amalekites, and the place, according to the Book of Revelation, of the final battle of Armageddon, derived from the Hebrew word Har Megiddo, meaning the mountain of Megiddo. Beit Shean is another ancient city located in the Jezreel Valley, known for its impressive Roman and Byzantine ruins. It played an important role throughout history due to its strategic location and belonged to the Roman Decapolis, meaning it was one of the 10 most important cities in the eastern Mediterranean. Today, the Jezreel Valley is a beautiful agricultural land where wheat, cotton, sunflowers, and fruit trees such as olives and almonds are cultivated. Additionally, the valley is full of natural beauties such as Mount Gilboa, famous for its role in biblical history. According to tradition, this is where the battle took place in which King Saul and his son Jonathan were defeated by the Philistines. Nowadays, Mount Gilboa has seen significant development in the wind energy sector, as its slopes offer open terrain ideal for the installation of wind turbines. The coastal strip, a place that offers us a spectacular journey through stunning landscapes, from a rich history to a vibrant modern life. Starting our tour in Tel Aviv, a true Mediterranean tourist city that represents the modern face of the Jewish state. Nearby is Jaffa, also known as Joppa, an ancient port city and one of the oldest ports in the world, with a rich history dating back centuries, even to biblical times, when it was called Jop. It is known as the departure port of the prophet Jonah and the place where the Apostle Peter received the vision that Gentiles would be admitted into the church. Further north is Caesarea Maritima, a splendid city built by Herod the Great on the site of an ancient Phoenician port and dedicated to Augustus Caesar, the Roman emperor. Most of the main points of interest are located in Caesarea National Park, which houses an impressive Roman theater, palace ruins, and an ancient harbor. Further north, we find the Carmel mountain range, which branches northwest from the central mountains of Shamron or Samaria and ends at the Mediterranean, offering one of the most sublime views of land, sea, and sky in the land of Israel. It is the setting for great biblical events, such as the prophet Elijah's victory over the prophets of Baal. Today, at the foot of Mount Carmel, we find Haifa, Israel's third largest city and a model of coexistence, a place where Jews, Muslims, and Christians live together in perfect harmony. Finally, further north is the city of Acre, a strategic port located in a wide bay that for just over 100 years was the gateway for all pilgrims arriving in the Holy Land. It was made the capital of the Christian kingdom by Richard the Lionheart until it fell again into Muslim hands in the year 1291 AD. The Gaza Strip, nestled in the historic biblical region of Canaan, facing the coasts of the Mediterranean Sea, it offers a journey to the past, to the land of the Philistines, a people of Mycenaean origin. The Philistines settled in the region in 5 main cities: Gaza, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Gath, and Ekron, forming a confederation. The Bible narrates numerous confrontations between the Philistines and the Israelites over control of the land. Among their most legendary battles are the stories of David and Goliath, as well as Samson against the Philistines. The Philistines had an advanced culture with knowledge in metallurgy, ceramics, and pottery, which made their conquest by Israel difficult due to their advanced weaponry. Today, the cities of Ashkelon and Ashdod belong to Israeli territory, as well as the ancient city of Gath, located in the Elah Valley, famous for being the place where David defeated Goliath. However, the city of Gaza is located in the current Gaza Strip, a coastal territory of approximately 360 square kilometers that remains a point of political tension and military conflicts and has over 2 million inhabitants facing numerous humanitarian challenges. Since Israel's unilateral withdrawal in 2005, the Gaza Strip has been under the control of the extremist group Hamas. Currently, Israel maintains a land, sea, and air blockade over the territory in response to constant terrorist attacks and rocket launches from Gaza targeting civilians in Israel, triggering military responses by Israel, causing civilians, including children and women, to suffer the worst consequences of these confrontations. The international community has repeatedly attempted to achieve a ceasefire and negotiate a political solution to the conflict, but to date, no sustainable peace has been reached. Egypt. Why does the Bible mention Egypt so often? Egypt, along with Israel, is one of the nations most present in the Bible. Its proximity to Canaan, the central land of the biblical narrative, and its condition as a prosperous land made it a refuge for figures such as the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and even for Jesus himself in the New Testament, seeking protection or refuge from famine or drought. The very nation of Israel lived for 400 years in Egypt, where, according to the account in the book of Exodus, it was enslaved and used as labor for the construction of great cities such as Ramesses, in the eastern delta of Lower Egypt. Canaan, with its Mediterranean climate prone to droughts, contrasted with the richness of the Nile, a source of life for Egypt, one of the most powerful nations of the biblical era. The Nile River, which was considered the longest in the world for centuries, flows 6,650 kilometers from Burundi, its southernmost source, to the Mediterranean, creating a fertile delta. The Nile Basin covers an area of approximately 3.1 million square kilometers, which represents around 10% of the African continent. And it was along this basin that the major Egyptian cities developed throughout history, such as the Valley of the Kings, Giza, or Cairo. The Bible mentions several cities in Egypt, among them Thebes, capital of ancient Egypt during part of the New Kingdom. In Luxor, in Upper Egypt, ancient site of Thebes, are found some of the most important monuments of ancient Egypt, such as the Valley of the Kings and the temples of Karnak. The Sinai Peninsula. The Sinai Peninsula, scene of the biblical story of the Exodus of the people of Israel, is a place of deep religious significance. This area of 60,000 square kilometers, located between the Gulf of Aqaba and the Gulf of Suez, has for millennia been a communication bridge between Asia and Africa, not only for Israel and Egypt, but also for the trade routes between both. Christian tradition identifies Mount Sinai, with its 2,285 meters in altitude, the highest peak of the peninsula, as the place where Moses received the Ten Commandments. Empress Helena, mother of Constantine the Great, after a vision during her pilgrimage to the Holy Land, identified the current Mount Sinai, promoting the construction of a church in the 4th century AD on the summit of this mountain, known as Hebel Musa or the Mountain of Moses. Later, in the 6th century, the monastery of St. Catherine was erected, one of the oldest Christian monasteries in the world still in operation. However, the location of the biblical Mount Sinai remains a subject of debate. Some modern scholars, based on the New Testament reference to Arabia as its location, propose alternatives such as the northwest of Saudi Arabia or the south of Jordan. Even research conducted in the 1980s in the mountainous region of Hebel al-Lawz has found archaeological remains, such as altars with ancient carvings and a split rock, which better fit the biblical description. As another curious fact, Sinai is a peninsula with an extreme climate, with high temperatures reaching up to 50 degrees Celsius in summer and below zero in winter, with scarce annual rainfall. The Red Sea, Israel, Egypt, and Jordan. The Red Sea was the setting of the biblical Exodus when God parted and dried the waters so that Moses could lead the people of Israel out of Egypt. If you're wondering why it's called the Red Sea, it was named that by the ancient Greeks who called it the Erythraean Sea, which means Red Sea. This was due to the reddish appearance its waters sometimes take on because of the presence of certain algae. The Red Sea has been a key maritime route for trade between the Mediterranean and the Western world and the Indian Ocean and the Eastern world. Today, it continues to serve that purpose through the Suez Canal, a key route through which around 12% of total international maritime trade passes. But the Red Sea not only holds historical and commercial importance, it is also a natural wonder, hosting some of the most diverse and spectacular coral reefs in the world, with more than 1,200 species of fish. Along its shores are found some of the finest luxury resorts in the East, such as Sharm el-Sheikh, one of the biggest tourist centers on Egypt's Red Sea coast, famous for its luxury resorts and excellent diving sites on the coral reefs. Hurghada is another tourist area with excellent facilities, such as airports and beach and coral reef tourism zones. If we head to the Red Sea coast in Israel, we must undoubtedly visit Eilat, the most important city in Israel on the Red Sea coast, known for its beach resorts, water sports, and cruises. Just outside of Eilat lies Timna Park, a unique desert park with spectacular geological formations and archaeological remains. Finally, we arrive at Aqaba, on Jordan's Red Sea coast. Aqaba features unique resorts and access to beautiful beaches, excellent diving opportunities, and access to natural wonders such as the famous Wadi Rum, one of the most spectacular deserts in the world. Galilee, a historic mountainous region in northern Israel. It stretches about 4,000 square kilometers from the coastal plains to the Jordan Valley. Geographically, Galilee is divided into the green and mountainous Upper Galilee and Western Galilee or Lower Galilee. The latter is essentially the northern coastal plain of Israel. Its rolling green hills are dotted with vineyards, olive groves, and fields of crops. They are the heart of the region's thriving agricultural industry. but Galilee is known as the land where Jesus Christ spent much of his life. This is why it is also an important religious destination with numerous sacred sites. There we find Nazareth, one of the most important cities in Christianity. It is considered the childhood home of Jesus, which is why he became known as Jesus of Nazareth. The city center houses important churches that celebrate this history. Here we find the Basilica of the Annunciation, St. Joseph's Church, the Greek Orthodox Church of the Annunciation, and the Synagogue Church. The latter was built on the site where Jesus is said to have preached his first sermon. Besides its religious significance, Nazareth is also known for its rich culture and traditions. It is the largest Arab city in Israel, with its winding alleys always bustling with commercial activity. To the east of the city we find Mount Tabor. It is known as the Mount of Transfiguration. According to Christian tradition, the Church of the Transfiguration is located at the top of the mountain. It is a Christian sanctuary offering stunning panoramic views of the surrounding valley. Northern Israel, a region of great natural beauty. From the Ula Valley to the heights of the Golan, this region offers a diverse mix of landscapes including mountains, valleys, forests, and beaches. Among its most stunning natural beauties is the Ula Valley, an extensive wetland and nature reserve that has become a paradise for migratory bird watchers and nature lovers. The valley is ideal for bird watching, cycling, and hiking on natural trails. Also notable are the heights of the Golan, a mountainous plateau located on the border with Syria that offers incomparable scenic beauty. A mountainous paradise with lush valleys, picturesque vineyards, and winding rivers. The Golan Heights are a popular destination for hiking and cycling thanks to their impressive panoramic views. Among its greatest attractions is Mount Hermon, which due to its height of 2,814 meters is considered a paradise for winter sports and serves as the border between Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. Also notable is Nimrod Fortress, a medieval crusader fortress built in the 12th century in the Golan Heights to protect the access route to Damascus. Finally, there is the city of Safed, also known as Safat, a city located in the Galilee Mountains in northern Israel. The city is known for its medieval charm with cobblestone streets and stone buildings, but the city attracts visitors from around the world for its rich history and spiritual atmosphere, being one of the 4 holy cities of Judaism and called the City of Kabbalah, which has made it an important spiritual and mystical center, home to ancient synagogues, artist studios, and art galleries. Lebanon. Lebanon is a biblical land with a great heritage of faith and devotion, called Lubnan in Arabic, meaning white, in reference to the massive snow-covered peaks of Mount Lebanon. This mountain is frequently mentioned in biblical passages, such as the Psalms, due to its beauty and majesty. Lebanon is a mountainous country covered with dense forests of cedar, oak, and pine, creating a breathtaking landscape of streams, rivers, and waterfalls. These are often referenced in the Song of Songs of Solomon, along with its beautiful vineyards, which boast a winemaking tradition that has flourished since Phoenician times. But without a doubt, the symbol of the country is its mighty cedar trees, often mentioned in the Bible for their beauty and grandeur. These trees are a symbol of strength and were used in the construction of temples, palaces, and ships. This is why its ancient coastal cities are referenced in the Bible for their trade, such as Tyre, famous for its Phoenician sailors who became renowned throughout the Mediterranean for trading purple dye, a symbol of wealth in ancient times. It is no coincidence that the prophecy in the book of Ezekiel narrates the fall of the king of Tyre due to his pride in his riches. Also notable is Sidon, one of the oldest cities in the world, which captivates visitors with its Phoenician, Roman, and Ottoman ruins. Similarly, the city of Byblos, known in antiquity as Kubla and in the Bible as Jebel, was renowned for its prized cedar wood, which was used in the construction of Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. Petra and the Edomites. Edom was an ancient people, according to the Bible, descended from Esau, the brother of Jacob, also known as Israel. According to the Bible and other ancient sources, the Edomites settled in Mount Seir, south of the Dead Sea Mountains now known as Jebel Ash-Shara in southern Jordan. At the foot of these mountains, the Edomites built prosperous cities. One of these cities was called Selah, a Semitic term meaning rock. The city was later renamed by the Nabateans as Petra, now known as one of the modern wonders of the world, an iconic city carved into the rock and a must-visit destination for anyone traveling to the region. Petra was located at a key intersection of ancient caravan routes, those coming from southern Arabia with spices and precious incense, and others carrying silk from India and ivory from Africa. If you're wondering why this place was so important, the short answer is water. Petra was a true oasis on these long trade routes. During the Babylonian conquest of the region, the Edomites were displaced by the Nabateans, a desert-dwelling people from Arabia who gave Petra the grandeur we recognize today. By the time of Jesus, the Edomites, also known as Idumeans, were living in the southern part of what is now Israel. In fact, King Herod, mentioned in the New Testament, was an Edomite. A fun fact, Edom means red, and one of the deserts once inhabited by this people is the famous Wadi Rum, also known as the Red Desert. Ammon, Jordan, the land of the Ammonites. The connection between present-day Jordan and the Bible is significantly important, as many biblical events took place in what is now Jordan. The northern part of modern-day Jordan was once ruled by the Ammonites, a Semitic people closely related to the Israelites and frequently mentioned in the Bible. At the heart of the ancient Ammonite kingdom was its capital city, Rabbath Ammon, modern-day Ammon, the capital of the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan. Ammon is located on a hill among the mountains that run across Jordan. It is the capital and, with over 4 million inhabitants in its metropolitan area, the most populous city in the country and the entire Levant region. Ammon is a city with around 7,000 years of history. Rabbath Ammon is mentioned in the Bible from the time of the Judges, when Jephthah defended Israel's territory from the Ammonites, just as King Saul later did when he defended the Gileadites from the siege of the Ammonite king. It was during the siege of Rabbath Ammon that the notable Hittite warrior Uriah was killed. One of the places where this ancient past is most tangible is the Ammon Citadel, a fortified hill that has been inhabited since the Bronze Age, and the only site where archaeologists have uncovered remains from the Ammonite period. You can also discover more of this ancient past by visiting the Jordan Museum, which houses various collections, including many artifacts and archaeological treasures from the Iron Age, when the Ammonites and Moabites lived in the region. Jerusalem, places to visit. Undoubtedly, it is not easy to summarize the places to visit in a city that has more than 2,000 sites of historical, cultural, and religious importance, but among them we can mention a few: the Mount of Olives and the Garden of Gethsemane, key places in the final days of Jesus of Nazareth. The City of David, an archaeological site that houses the remains of the ancient capital of Israel around the year 1000 BC, built by King David. Mount Zion, a symbol of the dwelling of God and the place where several events in the history of Christianity took place, such as the Last Supper, the place where the first Christian synagogue church was built, and where the first council in history was held. The Western Wall Tunnel, an underground path of about 480 meters that allows visitors to discover the history of ancient Jerusalem from a unique perspective. The Pool of Siloam, where Jesus walked and healed a blind man, rediscovered in 2022 south of the old city of Jerusalem. The Via Dolorosa, the route that, according to tradition, Jesus followed carrying the cross from the moment he was condemned until Calvary. Major museums like the Israel Museum, which includes important archaeological artifacts, and a wing, known as the Shrine of the Book, dedicated to the exhibition of the Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of ancient Hebrew manuscripts found in the Qumran caves between 1947 and 1956. The Yad Vashem Museum, a place dedicated to preserving the memory of the 6 million Jews murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators during World War II. In the surroundings of Jerusalem, we can find places like the tomb of the prophet Samuel, located on top of a hill overlooking Jerusalem, in the Palestinian village of Nabi Samwil, about 8 kilometers north of Jerusalem. Modern Israel, a state that survived nearly 2,000 years in exile. The miracle of modern Israel is a story of resilience, innovation, and success against all odds. Founded in 1948 as a state for the Jewish people, Israel has overcome monumental challenges to become a global leader in science, agriculture, and technology. Today, the Israeli nation is made up of ethnically and culturally diverse groups that reflect the populations of their countries of origin. It is a mosaic of cultures, values, and traditions, yet all consider Israel their home, making modern Israel a multiracial and multicultural country formed by immigrants from over 120 nations. Since its establishment in 1948, it is believed that nearly 3.5 million people have practiced Aliyah, a term well known in Israel referring to Jewish immigration to the land of Israel. The word comes from the Hebrew term meaning ascent, in reference to the ancient annual pilgrimage up to Jerusalem in biblical times. Today, Israel is a rich and diverse blend that cultivates a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. This is why Israel is known as the startup nation, becoming a world leader in biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and advanced agricultural technology. But it has also shown an unbreakable commitment to preserving its rich historical and cultural heritage, its sacred sites, and the promotion of Hebrew and Jewish tradition, making modern Israel a living testament to the determination of a people. For you, what fact do you think we should have included in our list? Or which one that we mentioned did you find most interesting? Leave us your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Give this video a like, and we'll see you on our next exploration of wonders around our planet.